Okay, let's get into it. We're doing a deep dive today into a really powerful piece of text, Ezekiel chapter 31.
Mm,
It uses this incredibly vivid metaphor, a huge, magnificent tree.
right.
And it's all about power, pride, and, well, downfall, aimed right at Pharaoh in Egypt.
Yeah, it's fascinating how the text uses something so seemingly solid, like a tree, for this big political, theological statement.
So our goal here is really to unpack that imagery, the tree's life, its fall.
And what that tells you, the listener, about the kind of power it represents.
Okay, so this tree, the text, paints it as just enormous, towering height, top above the clouds almost.
Above the thick foliage, yeah.
And branches so wide it says, all the great nations lived in its shade. That sounds, immense, like a
Yeah.
superpower.
And it emphasizes where that strength came from. Abundant water, these deep springs, feeding it constantly.
Like a Nile for Egypt, maybe?
Exactly. You can see the connection. It wasn't just big. It was deeply rooted, thriving, seemingly endless resources supporting it.
And beautiful, too, apparently. It rivaled trees in the Garden of God,
Even better than them, according to the text. Better than the cedars.
to the point where it says, all the trees of Eden were envious. Just unparalleled majesty.
Which makes you ask, okay, with all that, what could possibly bring it down?
Right.
And the text gives a very specific reason. It's quite direct.
Yeah. What's the core cause?
Because it towered on high and because it was proud of its height. Plain and simple. Pride.
Ah. So, not an outside force initially,
Yeah.
but something internal. Its own success led to arrogance.
Exactly. And that's where the text says God steps in.
Okay, how does that play out? This is where it gets pretty dramatic, doesn't it?
It does. It says God handed it over to a ruler, the most ruthless of foreign nations.
Wow. Not just trimmed, but completely handed over.
They cut it down, just felled it, left it there. It speaks volumes about where, ultimate authority lies, according to Ezekiel. Even
Yeah.
the greatest power isn't absolute.
And the fallout. What happens after it's cut down?
Well, the description is devastating. Branches broken, scattered. And importantly, all the nations came out from under its shade and left it.
So its whole sphere of influence just gone. Instantly.
Vanished. And then birds and wild animals move on to the wreckage. It's a picture of total desolation, loss
Who's
of
thought-
status.
What once gave shelter is now just a ruin.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a warning in there too, right, for other powerful nations.
Absolutely. The text says other tall, well-watered trees shouldn't get proud.
Because they're all headed for the same end.
Destined for death, for the pit, the grave. It's a universal warning against that kind of hubris.
The text even describes a kind of cosmic reaction, doesn't it? The earth mourning.
Yeah, the earth mourns, streams stop, Lebanon is gloomy, other trees wither, nations tremble. It's a huge event.
But then there's that strange line about the trees of Eden being consoled.
It's interesting, maybe a sense of relief or restored balance now that the overly proud one is gone. Those it overshadowed find comfort.
So bringing it back, how does all this tree talk apply directly to Pharaoh?
Well, the passage makes it explicit right at the end. It basically asks Pharaoh, which tree in Eden compares to you? A rhetorical question, really.
Acknowledging Egypt's splendor, but then...
But then delivering the punchline. Despite all that splendor, you and your hordes, Pharaoh, will end up just like that tree.
down in the grave.
Down in the grave, and specifically among the uncircumcised, with those killed by the sword.
Which carried a real stigma, right? A dishonorable end.
A very dishonorable end in that context. Outside the covenant, cut off. A complete reversal of their perceived glory.
So the ultimate message seems pretty clear. Earthly power, no matter how grand.
If it's built on pride, it's temporary. It's heading for ruin. The tree is a perfect illustration of that inevitable collapse.
It's a powerful image. The takeaway from Ezekiel 31 really is about that fragile nature of power when it becomes arrogant.
And the certainty from the text perspective of its fall into dishonor.
It definitely makes you think, how does this ancient image, a tree reaching too high and getting cut down, resonate today? Does it challenge how we view success or national power now?
That's the question, isn't it? What structures, what powers in our own world might be getting a bit too proud of their height, maybe unaware they're reaching too far? Something to consider?